Have you ever noticed that some people in their 60s radiate a youthful energy that no cosmetic treatment can even come close to imitating? It's like you spend time around someone who has truly awakened spiritually, and your brain just quietly miscalculates their age. You assume they're, in their late 30s, only to find out they're well over 50. And we're not talking about a good skincare routine here. This is a vitality that sits deep beneath the skin. It's in their eyes, it's in the quality of their stillness. Well, according to the legendary psychiatrist Carl Jung, the answer might have absolutely nothing to do with age and literally everything to do with the hidden weight most of us carry around every single day. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack Jung's clinical observations to figure out what this invisible weight is and how putting it down actually rewinds your biological clock. Let's start by looking at the flip side. Think about it. Why do some people in their 20s already look so fundamentally exhausted by life? We see it all the time, right? There's this undeniable heaviness in their face, a constant tension locked in their jaw, and this slight forward collapse of their shoulders. It's completely disproportionate to the actual number of years they've been alive, and no amount of sleep ever seems to fix it. But then, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, why do others seem to grow softer, more radiant, and visibly younger as they hit their 50s and 60s? The craziest part is, these are often the very individuals who have lived through profound difficulty, massive losses, betrayals, and periods of real psychological darkness. If anything, the events of their lives should justify them looking way older than their peers, but somehow the exact opposite is true. Which brings us to a really profound question. Could the heavy emotional burdens we silently carry actually leave structural marks on our faces and our nervous systems? What if what we traditionally call aging is actually less about the literal passing of time and way more about the invisible psychological loads we're dragging around with us every single day?
Carl Jung made a completely fascinating clinical observation about this. He realized that aging isn't just about time ticking away. Instead, it's about the heavy accumulation of everything we absolutely refuse to feel. It's the literal weight of every version of ourselves we abandoned just to survive, and every single truth we shoved down to keep the peace. When Jung traced this kind of vitality back to its source, he found that true youthfulness isn't some mythical fountain of youth. It is quite simply the biological result of dropping all that unnecessary psychological weight.
Jung called this hidden emotional weight the shadow. Now, when you hear shadow, you might think of something evil or dangerous, but Jung didn't see it that way at all. In fact, he thought it was 90% pure gold. The shadow is just the unresolved material we push underground to survive our early environments. Think about it. From a super early age, we're taught that certain emotions are totally acceptable, while others are definitely not. The angry you, the frightened you, the intensely uncertain you, those versions were quietly discouraged. So what happened? They went straight into the shadow. And every single year you went without feeling what actually needed to be felt, you added real, neurological weight to your physical body. So, to keep that shadow perfectly hidden and make sure those unacceptable parts of us never see the light of day, we construct what Jung called the persona. This is essentially an exhausting social mask we wear just to be acceptable, safe, and unthreatening to everybody else. Think of it like that permanent, super draining customer service voice we put on to navigate daily life. And look, there is absolutely nothing wrong with having a persona to help you function in society. The real trouble starts when your persona and your actual self drift so far apart that you literally forget which one is real. When that happens, it creates a massive, totally exhausting gap between who we really are on the inside and the highly edited version we perform for the rest of the world. On one hand, you have your actual self, complete with all its complex fatigue, unfiltered emotions, and authentic needs. And on the other hand, you've got the persona. This mask requires you to constantly soften reactions that feel too intense, fake enthusiasm you definitely don't feel, and heavily edit your entire presentation. And here's the kicker. Maintaining that massive gap takes a severe physiological toll. It forces your nervous system into a low level of chronic stress activation that literally never switches off. Think about it. You are constantly making hundreds of daily micro-adjustments in your behavior. A shocking amount of your biological energy is spent just managing your facial expressions. Your baseline cortisol levels stay elevated. You're perpetually bracing the muscles in your jaw and around your eyes just to keep a lid on everything bubbling underneath. Our stress response system was designed for short bursts to escape a tiger, right? not for a permanent 24/7 state of emotional containment. This chronic internal friction literally, structurally ages us. Because of all this chronic friction, unintegrated people end up living scattered completely across 3 different psychological time zones all at once. They're lugging around unresolved grief from 20 years ago, re-experiencing it as if it's happening right this second. At the same time, they're managing constant emotional suppression in the present day. And if that wasn't enough, they're generating the stress chemistry of anticipatory anxiety for years into the future. The wild thing is, your nervous system actually cannot distinguish between a real current threat and one you're just vividly remembering or imagining. So your body is constantly bathing in the stress chemistry of the past and the future, aging you in ways that have zero to do with the actual calendar year. Jung observed something deeply counterintuitive about all this stress. He figured out that it isn't actually the difficulty itself that ages a person, it is our resistance to that difficulty. Let that sink in. It isn't our painful experiences that age us, but rather our exhausting, lifelong resistance to actually feeling them. A person who moves through a genuine spiritual awakening has, at some defining point, simply stopped resisting. They've stopped spending all their energy managing what they don't want to be there and finally started feeling what is actually there. The profound cure for this is what Jung called individuation, basically becoming psychologically whole. And that transformation happens by letting emotions take their natural arc, which plays out in 3 distinct steps. Step 1 is just allowing the feeling to arise without pushing it down. Step 2 is hitting the peak. Now, this is where most of us panic, right? We distract ourselves or numb out because feeling the full, heavy weight of that emotion feels way too terrifying. But if you can just stay with it, you reach step 3, completion, letting the emotion resolve naturally. When you finally stop interrupting your own emotions, they complete their cycle and actually release the stored biological energy that was trapped in your system. When we finally let these emotions complete their cycle and we drop the exhausting performance, we aren't just dropping weight, we are actually reclaiming parts of ourselves that went dormant. That sensitivity you were told was a weakness, it comes back. The capacity for wild joy you suppressed to stay safe, the creativity you abandoned just to survive, the healthy anger that lets you know your boundaries are being crossed, all of these qualities carry very real, potent biological energy. So when you bring them back online, it delivers a massive rush of genuine vitality to your body. It literally shows up as a newfound brightness in your eyes and an undeniable fluid ease in how you move. And this is exactly why true vitality simply cannot be bought in a jar. Society constantly tries to sell us manufactured youth, a temporary surface illusion that relies entirely on expensive cosmetic interventions and endless skin routines. But what Jung observed was fundamental aliveness. This is the hallmark of spiritually integrated people. It's a hardcore biological reality rooted in deep nervous system relaxation, reclaimed biological energy, and authentic presence. It's exactly what happens when you aren't burning up all your life force just to manage a massive internal contradiction. When your nervous system finally realizes that it's safe to stop bracing against its own truth, your body undergoes a genuinely profound physical transformation. That chronically clenched jaw, it finally unclenches. Your breath drops way deeper into your torso than it has in literal years. Those tiny, tight muscles around your eyes soften up because they aren't bracing against unwanted reality anymore. Your nervous system is flooded with a signal of profound safety. All that vital energy that used to be consumed by suppression is suddenly freed up for actual living, for cellular repair, and for real regeneration. This is exactly what registers visually to the outside world as youth. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to take away from this explainer. Perhaps true youth is not the absence of years, but the absence of unnecessary burdens. When the soul no longer wages war against itself, the body stops carrying the scars of that conflict. And what emerges is not eternal youth, but something far more beautiful: wholeness. The absolute most powerful anti-aging mechanism we have is radical psychological honesty. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I challenge you to take a hard look at where you might be carrying weight you were never, ever designed to hold.